Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Lady Layer. We are actually live today. So if you guys hear us talking to people in the comments and things like that, it's because we're live. But we're going to jump right in because we got a lot to talk about. We're going to start off with a couple of shows that came on last week. We're catching up. So Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, they go on this couples trip. We start off the couples trip. Yandy and Mendices are the one who put on the couples trip, and people had a little shade because everybody is talking about the state of their relationship right now, basically. Did we want to do Buzz Layer real quick first?
That's what I was going to ask you. Are we going to do Buzz Layer stuff?
That's why I asked you. That's why I was like, put it on the thing because I just go off the thing. But go ahead. Let's do Buzz Layer first.
Okay, so it's a lot. I don't know if y'all been, well, I'm sure y'all been on the gram. So a couple stuff has been going down, like Love and Hip Hop. That cast can't seem to get it together. Everybody's getting arrested, right? One after another. So now it's Marceau's time after he's been talking about everybody else. Like, I just need people to be quiet. When somebody get arrested, like just, yeah. What I say, hip hop?
You said Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm sorry. So when on that show, if somebody get arrested, just be quiet because the karma eats them up every time. Okay, so now Marceau. I'm sorry,
both the brothers got locked up.
Right, Marceau is now got arrested for speeding, and he had a failure to appear. So it was literally just in and out. But bruh, now you in the headlines just like everybody else for getting arrested.
Yep.
And then. So that's the first thing that I saw this weekend. And then I was watching this thing. I was doing my little scrolling and I saw that they said Angela Oakley, her husband, got a side baby. Like Wendy Williams was talking about it and confirmed it and everything too. Like Wendy Williams was on there talking about how she ran into them at a Knicks game or whatever. I guess this is the time that they got kicked out. And she was talking to Charles or whatever, and Angela was like, she was talking about how they had got separated and they were going to renew their vows, and Angela mentioned the side baby. So she kind of like confirmed it, but yeah, that's why they were like, pay attention to how she introduced the kids, because she talks about her kids that she has separated. She talked about Charles Jr., who they're saying is the who's allegedly the side baby, and then the kid that they have together. So
and Wendy Williams is back in the mix.
Well, this was like back in 2000s. Like,
it was an old.
Yeah, the kid is older.
I thought she was trying to come back, but dang.
No, she's still relevant after all these times. I think, but that was like in the 2000s. But I wonder if they're gonna bring that up on the show. Like, is that the tea that Portia was alluding to on the show? Like, because she was saying, I heard some tea about Charles too. So
right.
Let's see if that's the tea she was alluding to. And then we also got that Bronwyn. So somebody went digging and found out that Bronwyn got arrested too. She was embezzling or doing grand theft from her old job. She got fired. She was arrested for identity theft. It's like a whole list of charges. So we just know Heather is on her computer doing all kind of research, trying to dig up tea for next season.
But Bronwyn, she had her child young. Like, she probably was out there not excusing her behavior, but I'm not totally surprised, because it's not like she comes from money and she had like this amazing like upbringing. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised. But they said that she just tried to leave off, which of course people want to leave that in the past. But child, when you on TV, if you got any type of dirt, they're gonna dig it up.
Yeah. And then the last thing I saw is Thanos, aka Carly Red. Child, she about to get divorced. Her and T-Lo got into a physical altercation where obviously he was the aggressor, and they already worked on their little temporary spousal support settlement. She's supposed to be getting $17,000 a month from him for spousal support until the divorce is final. So
that ain't bad.
Right. That ain't bad. Really sad, though.
They barely been married.
Yeah, they barely been married, but they was doing IVF. They was going through all these things, and now here we go. So,
and all of it was rushed anyway. All of it was rushed.
Yeah, I wonder if what led up to the divorce is what's playing out now. The whole like Zayn thing, because he did leave early, so maybe I don't know. Because it's supposedly supposedly she filed in February, so it's not a new thing. It's just now they finally got to
she filed this February 2025.
Yeah,
so that's new, that's fresh.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like she just didn't do it yesterday. That's what I mean by it's not fresh. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's new enough.
It's April 1st, so
yeah.
it's super fresh. But I mean, I get why they wouldn't just go ahead and be announcing it right away because they have this show and like everything that's going on. But it's interesting,
and it's a domestic thing, so that makes it touchy too.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. It says she filed. So the order was put into court March 13th, and then the domestic issue happened February 21st of 2025.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's all really new.
Dang. Ooh, Carly. I wonder if one thing about Carly though, she believes in love and she seems like she's just gonna keep going.
That's why they call her Thanos. She'll have another ring by next year.
Yep. I just hate that it's like even on the show, it's like all this was very rushed. Like y'all barely even know each other. Like the way they was communicating with her, we talked about this last episode, but like her tracking him and stuff like that. It's like, girl, you don't have no trust. Why did you marry this man?
Well, I know why she don't have no trust because he had a baby. He had a baby on the way while they was getting married. Like,
and why exactly? So why did you marry him? That's my question.
Yeah, well, mine
why
too.
you don't have trust, but why would you marry him?
Right. That's what we said last week. We not marrying nobody we don't trust. That doesn't even make sense
at all. At all. If I have to track you and I have to do all these things to check up on you and go through your phone and like all this stuff, then it's like it's not even worth it. But
yeah. So, all right, let's get on into this episode. So, we starting off 11 Hip Hop Atlanta. And like Kendra was saying, this episode, they went on the couples trip to Cabo San Lucas. And, it just instantly gets messy per usual. Like, everybody is so pressed about Bambi bringing her new boo. And it's like, why? Listen, Scrappy been having threesomes. He was dating his old baby mama. He's done so many different things, messing around with Amy, even though they claim they wasn't messing around. Like, why can't Bambi move on? Why she got to be sitting at home, sad, waiting for Scrappy to come back and be a loser?
And
like
you go harder for Scrappy than Scrappy would go for himself. Like I'm pretty sure he don't want to see Bam with nobody because men just don't like to see the women that they were with ever with anybody else. Yeah. But at the same time, he up in New York about to have a whole baby.
Right.
I just ain't used to you seeing, Zane, you just got here.
Right.
You wasn't even here while they was together on the show.
He trying to earn his spot for next season.
It's really irritating. Even Ashley was irritated. Like, you need to calm down. Like, why are you going so hard? Like, are you drunk? Like, are you excited to be here? Like, what is it? Like,
you need to be focused on your own marriage, okay?
Exactly. Because she probably only here with you on this trip because she wanted to go on the trip.
Right.
Like, y'all not even living in the same household. Like,
yeah. So they all go to dinner and it just gets messy. Like, Bambi, like she walks in with her new man. This is the first time everybody's seeing him, except for I think Sierra. So everybody's like, oh, some people know him because I guess he's from Atlanta or whatever. So like Jock and all of them was like dapping him up and welcoming him, but Zane was sitting over.
Sorry, pause. Jock is Scrappy's cousin. So why?
Why is Jock not as mad as Zane? Exactly.
Stupid.
Yeah. He don't get that though.
Right.
Yeah. So Zane is like interrogating Bambi, talking about the timelines don't add up, and she feel like he was messing with him. I mean, yeah, she was messing with him while she was with Scrappy. And it's like, bro, we didn't even know you knew Scrappy a year ago. Like, you are doing way too much.
And y'all are not besties. And you're probably embarrassing him, to be honest, because you're making him look more pressed than he is.
Right. And even if Bambi was talking to this man while she was married to Scrappy, that's their business, not yours. Worry about why you was cheating on your wife and why you can't even live in your house.
Okay.
So yeah, so Sierra flips the conversation and then she starts talking about how London and
how Zane was acting in London.
Yeah, and how and then Ashley brings up Carly. So look, this is what's annoying to me about Ashley. Like you doing the same thing as Zayn. You mad at Zayn going so hard for Bambi and Sierra. I mean Bambi and Ray. But like Carly and Zayn, this is 20 years ago. Y'all wasn't even together, number one. Right. And then number two, like in the text, she has the text messages. I don't know why she has text messages from 20 years ago, but in the text message, it says,
so quick.
Right. In the text messages, it says, bring your girl. We having a party. Like it wasn't, oh no, oh, I want to see it. Like nothing like that. It's clearly, you see it's platonic, but you want to keep harping on this same thing over and over and over again. Like, what are you looking for? It wouldn't matter if he was messing with Carly. Like, that was not your man. Like,
right, clearly, because if it was your man, you should be more concerned about the other girl that he was with, because she said in the text, bring your girl.
Right. And then it's like, it's definitely giving Amy being mad at Bambi for a 20-year-old booty call because they wasn't even in a relationship.
Not even together. It's just like grasping for straws at this point. It's like, let it go. Nobody cares. It's stupid. And then she didn't even respect the fact that Carly got her man here.
Right. Her husband.
Let's correct that. Her husband. And you bringing up some old tea that, like you said, it has nothing to do with you. You weren't around. Like, he cleared it. Well, Zayn didn't exactly clear it up either, because she did ask him like how long ago it was, and he couldn't tell her. And Carly was like, "Bro, this was 20 years ago." Like,
right.
The man is not even relevant.
Honestly, do you think that he just couldn't remember how long ago because it was so long ago, or you think he just was still trying to keep the mess going?
I think you're trying to keep the mess going, because he could have said it had to be at least 10 or 15 years ago, even if you didn't know. Yeah, you know, it wasn't 5 years. You know, it wasn't last year. You know.
Yeah. So of course that causes drama. So T-Lo is like, what the heck? Like he's confused because obviously Carly ain't telling her about stuff she was doing 20 years ago that meant nothing to her. So like they're sitting there, it's awkward, obviously, because you talking about my girl was inviting your husband to a hotel room and like, you know, it's weird. So they don't argue that night, but I guess they have this big blow up the next day. And it's so random because Jock's wife goes to console her when wasn't Carly and Jock's wife dating Jock at the same time?
So I think what happened was, I don't remember if they was, okay. So remember Jock had his bachelor party and Carly showed up. He wasn't dating Carly, but they was fresh off of like talking or whatever. But anyways, what happened was
that they were, because
I don't remember. It could be. But I think what happened was she said that their rooms were next to each other. And while Carly and her husband were arguing, she could hear everything. So she called Carly to check on her, basically. And then Carly was calling her back, or she called Carly back to see where everything was going on. So I think that's how they ended up having a conversation. But she was like, you know, me and Carly are not friends like that. But if anybody going through a situation like that, I would step in and be there for them.
Yeah, which was nice of her.
Yeah.
So the husband's leaving, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm like, did that start like all the drama that is happening now, or like, you know, it's kind of makes you wonder like, what is this? Because like, you don't go from being like in love to getting a toothpiece to the chin, like,
right.
You know?
And it makes me wonder what actually happened that night in that room. Because if Kendra was that concerned enough to call her and be like, what is going on? Because she said it was a lot of ruckus coming from that room. So he could have been knocking her upside the wall that night.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's scary. But that's crazy because like, well, I mean, I guess maybe she's fed up now. So that's why she left. Because I would think
maybe he took it too far. Like maybe, I don't know. I've never been in that type of situation, but I hear like there's levels to it. Like people, you know, if they just push them out the way or something like that, they don't take it as serious unless it goes further. But
yeah, it's like gateway abuse, like a gateway drug. It's like gateway abuse. It just get worse.
Yeah, progressively getting worse. It start with how they talk to you too.
Right. Leave at the first sign. Don't wait for it to get worse.
Right, exactly.
I was watching the show last night. The man went crazy, set the mama's house on fire, killed the mama. Like,
oh my God.
These people was
See,
crazy.
it be signs of people like something ain't right with them, and then you just be ignoring it. Like, do not ignore that the little stuff that you be like, that was a little off, or why did he
Right.
say that like that, or why does his mind go there at this little thing? Like, pay attention
Right.
to that.
Right. And the lady, like, so the first time, so the lady, she talked about how he choked her out one time. Then the next, like put her in a headlock, and she was like, he was the only reason why he stopped is because he said he heard her gasping for air. Then the
Wow.
same day he set the house on fire, he put her in a choke lock and was like, this is it. I don't care. Da 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 da. She's begging for her kids. Then he throws
Wow.
gasoline on her. She runs
Oh
out the
my
house, and he
gosh.
goes to the mom's house. I'm like,
Wow.
and this was like progressed. Like after the first time, she kicked him out, and then took him back 10 days later. Like,
but see,
yeah,
by
no.
then he probably already had her wrapped up, and like her mind was already, you know, tied up with him.
You gotta remember Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are,
Believe him the first time.
Right.
Child, did you hear they said, I don't know, this is alleged. They were saying that Maya Angelou was a pimp.
That who?
Maya Angelou was a pimp, is what they said.
I heard she was a hoe. I didn't know she was a pimp.
They said she was the pimp.
No, I heard she was a prostitute.
What?
But listen, she to have all the wisdom that she had to be out in these streets doing something.
Yeah,
like
she had a life. She definitely lived a life. I'm gonna have to do the research on that. Okay, so moving on to the next show.
Right. So
Now
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yes.
So we wrapping up this episode. Listen, they did not need to do no super show. They honestly could have just added like the 15 minutes of good stuff from this episode to the last episode. Like the last episode should have been the super episode, because like,
yeah, they dragged it. But a couple of things happened which we have to talk about, because it's probably what they're going to be talking about at the reunion. So Jennifer is basically, they all come in there, they're, you know, trying to defend Sutton and what happened with Sutton. She basically tells the group that she thinks Dorit and Erica planned the attack on Sutton. Now, why they would take out of their time to go and rehearse something, like knowing Erica.
Right.
Erica's not rehearsing any of that. Like, she's saying whatever comes to her mind when it says it. Dorit too. I don't think Dorit would care enough to try to plan an attack on Sutton. Sutton is not that easy. I mean, not that hard to attack. Like, come on.
Right.
So definitely don't.
She loves to play the victim.
Right.
Yeah, no.
In the same pattern with Garcelle, she's coming in and she couldn't wait to bring up to Sutton again how Kyle didn't have her back, and, you know, putting that in the forefront of her mind. And even when they're talking about other people, Garcelle, for whatever reason, has to bring up Kyle. And that frustrates Kyle too, because she's like, did nobody say nothing?
Right.
Like,
why do I have to be the person that said something? Why?
Yeah. And Garcelle didn't even have an explanation for that, because she's like, well, I don't know. Sutton just expects for you to come to her rescue. I don't know. She just wants that from you. She's like, but y'all are her closest friends, and y'all didn't even say nothing. Like, why am I being put on, you know, the cross?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like Garcelle, she's pushing the issue. Like, if like you said with the whole Jock and Scrappy thing, like, if Sutton ain't mad at Kyle, why are you trying to make her be mad? Like, you just starting mess.
She's jealous of their relationship. I think she was more happy when it was just her and Sutton. You know, they're two peas in the pod, and she didn't have any other friends. And I can't stand a friend like that.
Right.
Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, you know, you enjoy your friendship so much, you want to keep your friends to yourself. But when you're purposefully sabotaging other relationships and planting seeds in someone else's head when they're in a good space with somebody because you're that jealous, like, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Like, it seems more like an obsession or something.
Yeah,
like,
you need to seek counseling.
Yeah, like, it's a little scary, Garcelle. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So then she's just been spiraling this whole trip.
Yeah.
She don't take no accountability for nothing. No, she just is like,
delusional.
Sutton is
delusional.
Right.
She forgets all the things that she has done to other people in the past. And I love when they show the flashbacks.
Right.
Because
but that's why she thinks that it's coordinated. But it's like, no, you've done so much stuff to everybody. Like, I'm just gonna tell you how I feel. Like,
right.
mm-mm.
Right. Hey guys, on TikTok, we are live also on YouTube. So if you guys say anything, I'll try to go back and forth. But hey. But yeah, I think Sutton just has like, I don't know, she got memory loss, she got selective memory because she just forgets the things that she says to other people. And she's like, I just feel so attacked. Why is everybody coming at me? It's like, girl, they didn't pull it out of their butt. Like, these are all things that you've done and said.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then Garcelle, she goes to pushing Kyle for info about her marriage. And it's like, Garcelle, you just was like trying to come at me for not being there for Sutton. Why would I tell you my business? Like, we're not cool like that.
No. And she always talks about how her and Kyle are not close. Why are you poking and prodding at me for information? I have shared what I have shared.
Right. And Kyle doesn't even like desire closeness with Garcelle.
No.
Like Bose, when she went and she talked to her, that's somebody that she wants to have a relationship with. That's why she sat with Bose, told her business, whatever.
Right.
Like she sees something in whatever in Bose that makes her want to be her friend.
Right.
Like Garcelle, since she's been on the show, been coming for Kyle. Like, why all of a sudden now am I gonna tell you my business? Like,
right. And I think that's the difference between Bose and Garcelle. It's like, okay, Bose is a new person. Let me actually give her a chance. Garcelle has been here. She's come for me. She's been in my business. She says little slight things here and there. She's never liked Kyle. Garcelle has never liked Kyle.
No.
And
she probably is jealous of Kyle too.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, and that's why I feel like that's why she's made it her point to try to pull something. Because I'm like, what would it gain for you to hear her say, yes, I'm in a relationship with Morgan? What would that do for you?
Right.
Like,
you're not gonna be there for her as a friend. You're gonna go and talk to Sutton and talk mess about whatever she tells you.
Yeah, and she's like, well, Morgan is not on the show. And she's like, well, she was last time and you didn't say anything. Well, listen, she's not getting a check here.
Right. I have to choose what I want to talk about, okay? Just like you do. We know nothing about your life except the shows that you want to promote that are coming out. Like, be for real.
And a little bit about your son here and there. That's all that we ever have learned about you. Nothing about, she didn't really talk much about her ex-husband and their relationship and things like that. We don't know who she's currently dating. Like, we know nothing. The first season, she brought a couple of her friends on. We never saw them again. Like,
yeah. She's like the most private person, but wants everybody else to be so just upfront and out. It's like, no.
And people online have been going hard for her. Like, they were really sad and distraught that she was leaving the show. And I was so confused. And then they were saying like, that they feel like Bose was giving energy against her and like stuff like that. And I'm like, I didn't see that. Her and Bose filmed together twice. Like,
I was waiting for this. I was waiting for us to record because I just hate how people flip flop. Like, everybody was Team Bose, and now because she's leaving the show, oh, we're so sad for Garcelle. They did her so wrong, and da 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 da. It's like, no, they caught her on her stuff,
right? And apparently they're saying, we've seen the clips that she walks out of the reunion, so she probably couldn't take the heat. But some people were saying,
pulled a Mia.
But some people were saying they like how she did her exit because it is sometimes better to go out on high. Because if she comes back next season and it ends up being worse, then she could end up with less fans than she did before. Whatever, I don't care. But
I don't think she cares about them being her friend anyway.
No, fans, not friends.
Oh, fans.
Yeah, because if she really gets into it with them and says or does something that makes her look bad, then it could be worse than her making her exit now, which I kind of agree with. Like, right now, she's clearly in a good space with the viewers who watch the show. The girls on the show, it's like, we could do with or without her. So I think it is a good time for her to exit. And I'm okay with it. I don't know why everybody else is so upset and up in arms about Garcelle leaving. I'm okay with it.
And like, they so mad at Erica for saying that she was boring. Like, bring it back to Erica. Erica was boring this season too. Nobody wants you to see you design the pool house. Okay,
Right,
like
right.
I'm bored.
She had a couple liners. To me, the whole season was boring.
Yeah.
Like the first half, we getting Kyle and Sutton, right? They were going back and forth. No, Kyle and Dorit.
And Dorit, yeah.
Kyle and Dorit going back and forth. And like, okay, it's a little bit here and there. Like, it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, it's just like, I don't know. There's nothing to write home about. I hope we're not. How is it 3 reunions or 2?
They didn't say how many, but they only need 1.
They need to
we
wrap
don't
it
need
up.
no long. Right.
Please don't
wrap it up.
There's not much to talk about.
Right.
Like, we've literally talked about everything. It's not much to talk about.
Yeah. I'm excited for this hotel that what is it, the Real Housewives Hotel coming up?
Oh yeah, that should be good. Yeah, that should be good.
They didn't try to put Sutton on that show.
She probably declined. Because she don't want to be embarrassed. she's a little insecure because, especially, I think if that show is designed the way I think it is, where they kind of like bring in guys and then you kind of like mix and mingle and figure out who you mesh with. I feel like she would be insecure in that type of setting because it feels like a competition, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but
all right.
Also,
so let's. Oh
yeah, that was it, right? All of a sudden,
yeah. Pretty much.
And that extended scene, you could have left that out.
What extended scene?
They had an extended scene where Erica talking about her husband's court case. You ended.
Oh yeah, I don't.
You turned off.
Huh?
You turned it off.
Yeah, I was bored. I don't care about that court case. I'm so sorry. I'm tired of talking about that. She needed to be talking about her court case. Like, why is she now going to trial for using however many millions of dollars? Like,
that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
but they brought it back.
It was over. You back on Broadway. You doing all these things, and you also in a trial for using 24. What is it? It's like $24 million, right? Like,
yeah, they said that. Yeah, it was put into her account allegedly. I don't know how. I don't know. Okay, moving on.
Right. Summer House is gonna be real quick because listen, wasn't much there either.
Yeah, it wasn't much there. So Kyle and Craig finally talked, whatever. Then the main thing was Jesse and Sierra have like this little friendship where they kind of like flirt and they talk about different things. I do think that they genuinely have a friendship because even when she was with West, they all like hung out together, whatever. But Jesse kind of expressed that if West wasn't in the picture or whatever, he would have talked to her. And she kind of they ran back the tape where she basically says that she was interested in Jesse, but West arrived first and she ended up hitting it off with him.
That's messy.
Very messy because Wes and Jesse are basically buddies. And all this stuff is happening behind West's back. Like, they are a little bit more flirtatious than I think they should be in anyway, especially with Jesse being with Lexi.
Right.
And Jesse basically being best friends with Wes, and that's his ex. Like, I just think it's all too friendly.
Yeah, they doing way too much. And then, like, Jesse should have stopped last week when he saw how Lexi was feeling. Like, you gonna be at the party not talking to girls because you with Lexi, but you okay to flirt with Sierra, who lives in the same house with her? Like, make it make sense.
And then he's trying to make it all innocent when he's on the phone with Lexi. He was just like, yeah, I really enjoyed hanging out with Sierra, you know. And she's like, you know, I think you should be able to have a relationship with the both of them. They're both your friends. She has no idea.
Right.
That you are flirting with her.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna last anyways. Once she find out about the toe sucking, it's over.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And here's my thing with that whole situation. You heard there was a foursome or whatever threesome going on. Threesome. Why did you even go in the room?
Right. That's what I was about to say. Why? But what was like?
And lay down.
Right.
Like, you went in the room and laid down. He said, "Oh, I laid on the other side of the bed, but you were in the bed."
Right. And like, I want to know, like, was it only toe sucking? Like, I don't know.
Like, he said that. I don't know. And
you know they be lying. His bestie is West, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was lying too. We need to hear from Emerald.
I'm about to call him Raul. I don't know why I'm about to call him Raul. We need to see when he come into the picture to see what really went on, because I don't know if I believe any of this.
Right. I don't know if I believe it was just a little, let me do a little voyeurism, get my toe sucked, my dirty toe sucked on that.
Yeah, because
On
he
top of
admitted he
that.
didn't walk through the dirt, the mud, and everything. And then they were like, "But you had socks on when you came in." He was like, "I did."
Ew. And then you put your dirty shoes, your dirty feet in them socks, in them shoes. Like, that is nasty.
But
Like,
I think that's why production called them out, because he tried to say the girl just came out of nowhere and just started doing that. But they were like, "But you had socks on." So you either had to
right,
take your socks off or she had to take your socks off. So at some point there was time for you to stop it, and you did not stop it.
right, right. It was time to stop it because he went in there with shoes on. He wasn't walking around in socks. He had on shoes.
Right. Yeah.
So there was multiple layers where you could have been like, "Aight."
Right. So we have to see when Lexi jumps back in the picture, like what really went down, and if she finds any information or whatever. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then next episode, Lindsay gonna start going off on Carl. So hopefully we get some more action, because it's been a little dry.
Listen, Lindsay don't need to be going off on Carl about nothing. Y'all are broken up. It don't matter. You got a whole
You
baby
are
on the way.
pregnant.
Like, move on with your life. Like,
And
please.
why is her sonogram still sitting up on the fireplace?
I don't know, but the fact that Carl is so unbothered and doesn't even care that it's there just makes it so much better, because you really tried to put it up there to make him feel uncomfortable, and he does not care
at all. Like, I think Carl made the best decision, and he is moving on with his life. I feel like he took the appropriate amount of time to heal, unlike someone else.
Right.
And I want to see Carl win. I want his business to do well. I want him to meet the love of his life. I think he's a great guy. I want him to win. So
yeah, I really want the bar to take off, because she made him feel so low when he brought up that idea. Like, I want him to become so rich off of this dry
franchise
bar.
It, Carl. Franchise it, okay?
Right. It's lots of pregnant people that want to go out. They could go right to your little bar.
I didn't even think about that. That is such a good thought. Like, you could have freaking baby showers up in there.
Right.
I mean, because when you pregnant, you definitely do things to try to trick your mind, especially in social why can't I say it? Social settings. I would always get a mocktail.
Yeah.
Put me some garnish in there. Like, don't just give me some orange juice and cranberry juice and mix it up. No, make it cute. Put me some mint leaves. Make it
little
cute.
rosemary stick.
Yeah, something.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on.
All right, so let's get into what we really want to talk about. Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Huh?
I said yes. Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know I'm streaming on this side too, so I gotta say it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was this episode was really good. I'm glad that it's picking up, you know?
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want to hear Shamia sing all season. Like,
I knew you were gonna say that. When I was watching it, I was like, Katrina's irritated because Shamia played her song twice.
Right.
In one episode. I know Katrina's irritated, but I like the song.
So
I think
it's a great song. I just don't want to hear it all season. Like, I've already heard it 30,000 times on Instagram. I don't need to hear it over and over.
Here's the thing. As someone who is coming back into the music industry, I'm here for her. Like, the fact that they are playing it that many times is great for her, because being played on Instagram only gives her a certain level of audience. Being played on Bravo is giving her millions of people to listen to her song that wouldn't even follow, that doesn't even know who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these new people are hearing her music. She's getting more streams. I think it's great for her, and I think it's very smart for her to come out with music at this time, because she's getting the brightest light shine on her that she ever has in her life. So shout out to Shamia and her team for getting all that approved. Okay, I'm just gonna say that.
Listen, okay, but that's the only episode. No more episodes.
Girl, you gonna
unless you do it like a show,
do a performance and everything. Like, girl, just get ready, buckle up.
Look, that's why I said unless she's doing a show, we don't need to be hearing it on the phone every episode, okay?
Right.
Like,
Okay. So, but first off, they start off with Angela and Britt having a conversation in the park. I don't know why they be setting up these scenes acting like they're really gonna work out, knowing they're not gonna work out.
right,
Like
walking in the park with
they
the
walk two
dog,
steps,
like.
it's sat down.
No, but have you seen that reel on Instagram where the guy is standing out in wherever and he's talking and then he's like doing a little news forecast or whatever, and then a fly flies in his mouth and he's like,
Yes, that was Britt.
Yeah,
that was right. Britt. Angela was like, girl, you okay?
Listen, I feel her. I would have been the same way. I don't play about the books, okay? Mm-mm.
But I think their conversation was interesting about like the family dynamic situation. And even throughout the episode with like what Britt was saying and then hearing a conversation with her sister and like throughout the episode, I don't know if there might be an unhealthy dynamic there with her and her husband. Because
you think so?
I don't know. It does make the question. The thing that made me question it most was the conversation between her and her sister. Mm-hmm. But we could get to that. But just in general, the conversation I think that was dangerous to me was when they were talking about like helping out family members and stuff. Like I think that there's a fine line with that where it's like what Angela was saying, you know, her husband now is helping. She took care of her family, but now he's involved, so he's helping take care of her family. Like, is it fair to ask your spouse to help financially support your family members?
So I think for them, like, well, I don't know what their finances are like, but if all the money is in the same pot and she's still contributing to that pot, like, and you knew before that was what she was doing, I think that it would, I would hope they would have had the conversation that, hey, even when we get married, like this is going to continue. Like they depend on me to help support them. So
that's what makes me like wonder. Like I wish I had more information with that because I think then it's okay. But if you are financially supporting your family members and you don't give your husband that information, and then all of a sudden, like there's money missing from our account. Or, you know, you're like, oh, my mom needs these bills paid and this person needs these bills paid. And you just start paying stuff. I think that's completely wrong. So I just wonder.
I think the issue with Angela was that the parents was getting, or the family was getting into their marital business.
Right,
like,
right.
I feel like even if we're helping you or whatever, like our marriage is our marriage. You don't get to comment on stuff that's happening in our marriage. Like that's our thing. Like, maybe I might go and talk to you about stuff. And if you feel like you have an opinion, you can say it to me, but never is it okay for you to go and address things with my husband. Like, I don't care how upset you are, because at the end of the day, that's who I live with, I sleep with, I have a covenant
I
with.
vow that person, not you.
Right. So it's like, no, you don't get to go check my husband. And especially because he's helping to support you financially. Like,
exactly. I agree. But I think she admitted and said, like, she kind of opened up to them too much. And I think that's where you have to be very careful about what you share with your family about your partner. I don't even, it's such a fine line. I feel like there's a limited amount of things that you should share with family members about your marriage. Because they can't, especially people that love you deep, love you long, like they're going to ride for you regardless. So if you don't have people who can be non-biased, I don't think you should share information about your relationship with those people. Like you need to find someone, like my husband and I, we got married, we chose people that we both value their opinion. We both agree that they can be non-biased, and we both agree that these are safe people to discuss our relationship with. And those are the only people that we discuss our relationship with. And it's helpful. You know, you don't go and run and tell your mom, your cousin, your auntie, every small little thing that happens in your relationship. Yeah. And so it just kind of like blurs the lines into where her mom probably felt comfortable enough to say, hey, we family. Like, I can talk to you. And it's like, girl, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely needs to be boundaries for sure.
Yeah. And so Britt kind of talked about like the dynamic with her sister too, where you know, he helps her sister when she needs things or whatever. They help her sister, and then her sister kind of gets upset and like, well, he trying to act like he my daddy. And that's the issue too, where it's like if you help someone, you help them. Like you can't come back and be like, well, how you spending the money and what you do with the money.
Well, we don't know if that's what he's saying though. I
I'm not
feel like,
saying that. I'm not saying
yeah,
that's what he said. I'm just saying because she did say that he act like he's a like now he's acting like he's my daddy because he gave me money. That's what she said. So what
but
I'm
you
saying,
going and getting money from him like you his child.
but here's the thing. I don't give people money and then question what they do with the money. If I
No,
agree
I
to,
agree.
yeah, I'm just saying maybe she felt that type of way because we don't know. Of course, they didn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, I'm just saying like I wouldn't give somebody money and then question what they did with the money. Like if I agree to give it to you, I don't get to come and dictate and say whether you my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, whatever. I don't get to come and say. But that's to me, that's why she probably would have said. Of course, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah, I
assuming.
don't know. I don't want to speak on that part, but for me,
Mhm.
like the sister, she was given like a little like jealousy, and like I feel like she didn't really understand like the dynamic of like a good marriage. Like she didn't even want her sister to be like talking to her husband about stuff. Like she was upset that Britt was spending time with her husband, like, and not spending time with her. And it's like I don't like it's
Yeah.
not gonna be the same as it was when I was a single woman. Like, like
I
he's my
saw it a little
priority now.
differently. I saw it a little differently only because of how the sister was describing what she was saying. I would be trying to have a conversation with you as a sister, and he would start chiming in. So that's what to me made me think like, oh, it seems a little bit unhealthy. Even with him calling her back to back to back to back to back as she's sitting, he knows that she's at lunch with her sister. And he's calling her back, and she's like, yeah, he misses me already. Like to me, that feels a little unhealthy. Like, not even saying that that's only solely on him, because I can see even with how, she
Yeah,
was
she
getting to
hasn't
the,
set the boundary.
yeah. So I think even with how she was interacting with the other ladies at the event and saying, I need to call my husband, I need to call my husband,
Right.
he could also be reliant on him a lot for things and codependent on him to
Mm-hmm.
where she's causing that divide. But the sister doesn't know that because the sister only sees like, why does he always have to be there? I call you to talk to you as my sister, and then he's on
Right.
the phone, or he's chiming in, or I want to hang out with you, and he's always there. And then she's just like, okay, I think I could do better with that. So maybe it's not him, it's her. But
Yeah, I
either
feel like
way,
she gets
I feel
sudden.
like it's unhealthy. I just think it's the dynamic of the way that she was describing their relationship. That part is why I was saying, like, I feel like I don't think it's indicative of a good marriage per se, because I don't think like that type of codependency is healthy.
Yeah, for me, I don't like I would have to see like the whole thing because she gives sudden to me. Like I feel like I would never know the whole story with her because whatever it is, she's gonna be the victim. She's gonna
Mm-hmm.
overreact. She's
Yep.
never gonna tell the full story. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. But just with the
Yeah.
conversation with her and her sister, what I heard the sister was saying is like, I still want you as just my sister. I don't think that you should have to show up with your husband for everything. Like she was saying, like, I love that you are married, and like she just didn't give off to me like she was mad at that. I think she was giving off like you always have to show up with him. If I invite you somewhere as a sister and want to go to lunch, you got to bring him. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't go hang out with my friends and bring my husband everywhere. I don't have blood sisters. My friends are my sisters. But that's like me inviting you to lunch. You probably wouldn't care, but
Yeah.
me inviting you to lunch.
Yeah, it wouldn't
But
matter.
every time we go to lunch, he got to come with us. Like, dang, girl,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about my business, and I don't really want him in my business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So
So we kind
then
of skipped around with that part.
yeah. But okay, so Portia, okay, so what do you think about this fake little office that she rented for the day to have this thing? Like it
That's what
was
people
weird.
were
And I
saying.
finally got to see who Johnny was. Like I don't know why people make their employees their besties. Like that's how do you when something happens to where you need to like correct what he's doing at work, how does that work when that's your bestie? Like, that's when the lines get blurred.
I think
Like
with
I don't know if I could
Portia,
do that.
I think with Portia, she's not she hasn't shown to be a good friend to anyone that we've seen like over the years. And so I think she kind of befriends the people around her because they have to be there.
Mm-hmm. And they have
Like
to say yes and tell her how great she is because they're her employee.
they're being paid to be there. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like she kind of like relies on that with them. Now the whole office thing, I saw somebody else mentioned that too. Like she just threw up that naked by Portia sign or whatever. But also she has mentioned that I feel like she runs her business out of her house. And she even said that during the meeting. She was like, you know, we've kind of been doing this from home so I can be there for my child and like da 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 da. But she currently can't film in her house. So I think she did have to rent that space to do that scene. But she didn't say like this is Pampered by Portia office or this is, you know, whatever. She never said any of that stuff. So people kind of
she was making up stuff. She tried to act like she had a whole HR department to fire Drew, and that's why she couldn't.
She threw the joke back on herself because she was like, "Hello, it's Pampered by Portia Corporate. It's Portia."
Right.
And she was like,
"Go naked corporate."
Yeah, she was like, "My number." Like she
right. You all have my phone number.
Yeah, so I don't think that was like serious, but people was going off online like, yeah, that ain't even her real office. She ain't even got no office. I'm like, she kind of said that. Like,
I don't remember her saying that she worked from home, but
yeah, she said it. She was like, you know, I know these businesses have been home based because I really want to be there with, you know, Pilar. And she was like, but now things have changed and I got to put my big girl, you know, draws on and like do what I got to do with these businesses. She was like, and then in her green screen, she was just like, I kind of have pushed being a wife to the forefront, but I can't do that now. Like it's all on me. So she's like, I have to really expand these businesses and make them make some money for real. So yeah. And we got Ralph and Drew.
Ralph and Drew, and Drew's so annoying. Like, I'm so sick of people calling people narcissists because half of these people don't even know what it means. Like Drew, like y'all just claw onto anything, and everybody is that. Like, why are you calling?
She embarrassed herself. She embarrassed herself.
The reason why you calling him a narcissist is the same thing that you do. So why are you like? I don't get it.
Like, I think this was a failed scene for her because she was trying to paint Ralph to be a certain way, and all it did was make me have a little bit of sympathy for him. I'm not gonna lie.
Because why would you come outside when you see him practicing with the kids? Like, it was so weird altogether.
And even the fact that she didn't know that the kids brought to him the article, which shows that the kids are more comfortable, not more, maybe I can't say more, but the kids are comfortable with him enough to bring things to him and talk to him. So the fact that he is a primary parent, because that's what they were saying in the divorce decree, that he was asking for certain things because he is the primary parent, because she's always gone doing things, da, 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 da. And I'm like, this conversation kind of proves like what he was saying. And then the fact that she admitted that she didn't know what the definition of a narcissist was, and she's just calling him that to his face. And then he's like, okay, well, I can admit to being wrong with that, whatever. And he's like, a narcissist wouldn't do that. And it's like, he said, I know what the definition is.
She liked to call out everything in court. If I was Ralph, I would be like, well, she's defaming my character. She's calling me a narcissist and she doesn't even know what it is. Like, that's defamation of my character.
Yep. And it's proof right there for him. And I don't know. I just feel like that scene was just like a flop for her.
Yeah. Most of her scenes are flopping. Like, even her going to the studio dressed like how she was, like, girl,
don't touch.
Where are you going? Right. Where are you going?
And that's probably why he was like, girl, you finna come perform? Like, what is you doing?
Right. Mm-mm. And that was a little flirty too when she was like, I always come and perform. Like,
even the way she was like looking and like, I don't know, she's just not giving that she's being honest with this whole situation. Even with her like saying like, I don't know why Portia is tripping. You said you talked to her. Why is he having to talk to her if that's your friend?
Right.
Like,
if y'all do business with her. Right.
Y'all both should have had a conversation with her, and you leaving it on his shoulders just show that you being shady and you really don't want to face her. Talking about, well, I've tried to talk to her. You didn't try hard enough. And it didn't matter because you already had stuff in motion. So
because he was talking about they've been working together since she was in Africa eating fufu. Like,
I don't know. It's just all weird. It's just all weird. So then we get to the bank dinner and Kenya shows up in a Tiffany blue dress, talking about it's Versace. When the
Right.
invitation clearly said the invitation was in all black. It said wear black attire. Kenya knew
Right.
it said black and she wanted to wear that dress.
Yeah.
So, like, girl, we know.
Yeah. She was being Kenya in that moment because that's
Right.
something she would do. Not
Right.
surprising at all. But
At
I want to
all.
go back. I did like her and Kelly's
Conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
it was
feel
good.
like it defeated the mean girl narrative that Britt is trying to like pose, because if she's a mean girl, she would have been doing the same thing
To Kelly, because she's mean.
Kelly. And she wasn't. And they were able to bond, talk about businesses. She was vulnerable enough to talk about how she was afraid that she put $400,000 into the salon, and that's how much it's going to cost for her daughter to go to college. I don't know where she's going to college, but yeah, like that was great. Even though I don't like the fact that she's talking about how much she could lose from this business going to college, and then you go the next day and do the naked pictures and tarnish the brand.
That was foolish. That was foolish. I don't understand King. I think King has an issue like with impulse or that get back. Like she goes so hard with the get back that nothing else matters, and that's been her downfall every single time. Like she did the same thing with her other launch and stuff like that. Like she messes up her own events. I don't understand it. But also I was gonna say about Britt is she admitted that she had preconceived notions about Kenya. So all the antics and things that she's pulling in this episode, it's just like, girl, you're trying to create a moment. You're trying to create a scene based off of what you saw on TV.
Yeah, like, she's a fan. She's a fan and she's trying to get her moment.
Yep. Yep. And she succeeded because she knows that you push buttons with Kenya, you're going to get something out of her.
Right.
Now, she tried to go a little hood, talking about she got pistols and all this other stuff. But it's like
that was annoying to me too, because just 30 minutes ago in the show, you was talking about how your sister had to come up to the school and fight for you because you're not a fighter and all of this stuff. But you was acting real rah-rah at the dinner. Like, had Kenya really been on that type of time, like what would have really happened? Because
because you writing checks that your butt cannot cash and you need to be quiet
at all. That's why she was calling her husband.
Like, where's my husband? Where's my husband? There's that codependency. You in a battle with some women. What is you calling your husband for?
Right. And what is he gonna do? He gonna come beat up Kenya? Like,
he told her she was doing too much.
Right. And it was weird that she had him drop her off anyways. Like, everybody else had a car or like rode together. Like, why do you need your husband to drop you off? Like, he's your daddy.
That's what I'm saying. It's some weird there, and I don't know if it's necessarily him. I can't say that it's him because it's given that it's her. She has a very codependent relationship on him. It's unhealthy. You should be able to move and groove on your own. You're on this show. Like, I know he's your security blanket, but you can't be bumping your gums and then running and calling your husband. Like, oh, come on. So, whatever. But also at the dinner, Shamia extends an olive branch. I thought it was sincere. It seemed very sincere. That she wanted to squash stuff with Angela. And then Kelly calls out Drew for being extra because they were talking about the whole event thing, which I think it was kind of good that they called that out, because I love a little tea when it's like, okay, you thought you were doing stuff behind the scenes, but no, what's really going on? So basically, she called her out for not spending no money and bringing all these extra people.
And she called her out for Dennis texting her while they was at the dinner.
Right. Yeah, and then Drew knew it was going left though, because she was just like, "Oh no, it's a group text. It's a group text."
Right. Yeah, and then so do you think Portia was being shady when she was like, "That's not Shamia, that's Drew. Isn't that Drew?" Like,
absolutely. There was no other explanation for what she did.
Right. Why would Shamia be playing Drew's song when they don't even get along? Number one.
Exactly. Like, so I think the real issue with sorry, my phone is doing something stupid right now. But I think the real issue with what happened with Portia is Portia was upset that she didn't know before everybody else. Because as soon as Kenya said, "You never heard the song," she was like, "No, I didn't know anything about it." I think sometimes Portia's having a hard time. It's clear that Portia's having a hard time with Shamia being in the forefront, period. Like, that's pretty evident. But now it's like, okay, now she's putting her song on and like, you know, she's getting more shining light and stuff like that. I think Portia is struggling. And for her to say, like, oh, well, that is not your singing voice. I know your singing voice. And she's like, girl, well, if you would stop talking, she talked through the
Right.
whole thing.
Right.
That's
Isn't
not
that you? That's not Shamia. That's not Shamia. Like, girl.
Why would I sit here on my phone playing Drew's song? And I'm a
Right.
singer.
Right. And pretending like it's mine. Like,
yes. It was just complete shade. It was complete shade. There's no excuse for it. It just, to me, it just showed more that Portia is not a real friend to Shamia, because she took her moment, made it about her, made it about somebody else. And you just like completely tried to hijack her moment. So I don't know. I just think that was really poor judgment and on her part.
yeah.
So yeah. So we'll see what happens next week with everything. Because
right. Maybe it was something. I'm thinking maybe it was something else that just provoked her to show the picture, because I feel like showing the picture after that little altercation at the restaurant
wasn't enough.
Yeah, I don't think that would provoke that. So I'm excited to see what actually led up to them showing it at the thing, because I feel like Kenya has had arguments with other castmates like that before, and I'm sure they have stuff that she could do, and she's never gone that far, you know?
Yeah. I also think she's probably like, why is this girl poking at me? Because a little conversation in the car when she was like, yeah, she's talking about pistols and stuff. Who does this girl think she is? She needs to go. So maybe she was trying to run her up out of there by embarrassing her. But I think Britt was doing too much. Kenya clearly went overboard with the whole picture thing. Like I said, we haven't seen it yet. But all the girls agreed that Britt blew that whole dinner scene out of proportion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's hard not to. Like, you got to be blind to not see that. Even though Kelly was on her side, even she was talking about, oh, he was doing too much.
Yeah, you were looking for something, because with her saying like, I can talk to anybody, I can get along with anybody, that should have been enough. Like, girl, let it go. Okay, so let's move on to Married to Medicine. We don't have that much time. So we back in the reunion. What should we talk about?
So we can talk about, of course, Heavenly and Contessa still arguing, and Dr. Jackie is like, oh, I'm so sad. They were so close, they could get through this. And then Andy brings up the fact that Heavenly been doing the same thing for 10 years on social media. And Heavenly is like, well, do you want me to stop being on social media? And Andy's like, well, if you ain't talking nothing about me, so I don't really care. But if you were, I would want you to stop being on social media.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you would give up social media for Andy, why wouldn't you do it for somebody that you're actually close to? Like, I get he's your boss, but
I think her point was her running her mouth on social media. She believes it's helping the show, because when you talk about the show, it keeps it trending, blah, 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 blah. So I think that was her point. Because with her saying, Andy, do you want me to stop?
Yeah.
Because she's trying to get him to say like, no, it's great for the show. I mean, come on. So I think that was her point. But yeah, the point too is you should be able to talk about the show without dragging people that you call friends.
Right.
Excuse me.
Don't expose stuff that's not on the show. If it's really to promote the show, talk about what's being talked about on the show, not private information.
Right. So it also highlighted the fact that Greg spoke with T previously about having a cutoff time for when he was willing to have a baby, and T kind of like brushed over it or whatever, but she's basically trying to say like, well, Simone cut in and said that she believes what he's trying to say is, you know, he's getting up in age and things like that. Do you think his cutoff time was because of he's talking about how old he is, or he just gonna be done with her because he really want to have a baby?
So I don't think he's gonna be done with her. I think that, so I don't know. I kind of think that T was telling the truth when he was like, she was like, it's not a cutoff to not have a baby. It's a cutoff to move to a next step. Like, if this isn't working in 2 years, then we need to try to do something else. Right. I think that's more of what it is. Because I do think he loves T. So I don't think he would leave her just because she can't have a baby.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So then they asked Quad about something, and she starts going off about how, you know, a man should respect his wife, he should hear her out, he should It was interesting because T was kind of nodding her head with everything she was saying. And then when Andy Messy self gonna say, "Are you talking about Dr. G?" She was like, "Absolutely, I am." Then Sweet Tea goes off and was like, "Oh, you just love to talk about him," and It's like, girl, you was agreeing with everything she was saying.
Right. And then Quad reads her for filth.
I was like, dang,
you did not have to do her like that. Huh?
I say, yeah, Quad be going for the gutter.
Yeah, she did not have, like, they talk about how low Heavenly is. Like, nobody talked about how low that was for Quad. Like, and it's crazy because like as a woman who's also having fertility issues, and I'm only assuming she's having fertility issues because she's doing IVF. Like, if you aren't, I don't see why you would need to be doing IVF.
Well, some people do it because they want to choose the gender of the kids.
Maybe. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just assuming she's having fertility issues because she's doing IVF. But anyway, so yeah, for her to come at T and say that she slid into Dr. G's DMs and promised to have a baby and can't even deliver on it, like that was a low blow. Yeah.
I think sometimes they get in the heat of these conversations and they just, especially witty people, like I feel like Quad and Heavenly are very witty. Heavenly is not as witty. Heavenly is just mean. But I feel like Quad is really witty. And so sometimes they just be shooting that off. It's like we in a battle and I'm just gonna come at you whatever I gotta say. But that was
right. That is the game on those shows, to see who could go the lowest, who could throw the most shade.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here go Dr. G he mad that he getting called to quiet. I'll say all the guys come on stage. First of all, Dr. G is in isolation because he said he needed extra security, blah, 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 blah. This guy's having a good time. They all come on stage. And
I don't know why he thought that him requesting extra security was going to mean that King was going to be isolated. Like, you the one asking for extra stuff, not King.
Yeah. And you got issues with more than one person. Like, you got issues with King, but you also got issues with Dr. G. I mean, Damon.
Yeah.
And I love Damon because Damon be standing 10 toes down. And he was like, listen, my wife could be wrong, but we as men are having a conversation. I can admit when she's wrong. But what that got to do with me?
Right. And why wouldn't you stand up for me when you know it's lies and you just gonna say, I don't.
And
but the way you want me to come for my wife?
Yeah. It's like you want me to give you grace on certain things, but you can't stand up for me. You want me to stand up to you against my wife. It's crazy. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think that Dr. G lives in his own la la land, and Damon was trying to give him grace by not exposing the receipts that Heavenly exposed today on Instagram, basically showing that, in fact, Dr. G was not going to send patients to or accept Damon's patients because of what Heavenly said. Like, it was written right there in the text message. And I think Damon is, because he's the type of man he is, he was trying to give him the opportunity to basically, you know, come clean about it. But because he was like, man, come on, man. Right. And I feel like anytime men say something like that, it's like, I'm trying to give you the opportunity to speak up for yourself, but you're not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I thought it was interesting too. What was I going to say? Shoot. I forgot.
I was going to say about the ladies. What you going to say about the ladies?
Well, I was going to ask if people think that Simone should take a break. Because, like, why are you mad? And then, like, she was saying low blow stuff, too. I can't remember what she said on the show that was like, okay, girl, that's too much. Like, she just, And I don't understand her vendetta against Quad. Like,
yeah. So that's what I'm going to say. So meanwhile, while all this stuff is going on the stage, back in the green room where the ladies are, that's where they start getting into it because Sweet Tea is trying to defend whatever is happening on stage, and Heavenly's telling her to shut up. Then Simone and Quad start getting into it. And that's what you were about to say about Simone needing to take a break, because what we were still trying to understand is, why is Simone still so upset at Quad? Like, she's saying she turned her back on them, and like, you gave us your butt to kiss and all that stuff. It's like, but how I remember it, y'all kicked her to the curb.
Right. Y'all got mad at the Sister Circle event, and after that, y'all put her on ice.
Yeah, even after she explained that she was gonna acknowledge the sister circle and then come and acknowledge you guys, like, which I don't all the way believe. I think that it was shade, but
Yeah.
that's where they were at the time. And it's like, Simone, if you're gonna still be holding on to this, like, I don't understand.
I feel like Simone too. I feel like she got a thing against Quad too, because I think she's a little jealous. Quad had the guts to leave Greg, and when she had the opportunity to leave her husband Cecil, she stayed. And now she's still miserable in the same relationship, and Quad is happy and living her best life. And she
Yep.
ain't doing as bad as Simone thought she would. Because Simone tried to talk about how Quad should have had a baby and blah blah blah. Like, why would I have a baby in an unhappy marriage? Like,
no, and I don't think Simone gave quite enough grace on what happened in her relationship. And even for her to say, you know, you gave us your butt to kiss, so yeah, we're gonna hang out with Greg, knowing all the things that Greg did to Quad. And I think that's
you
what
shaming Quad for leaving an abusive relationship. Like, make it make sense.
And I think that is what caused Quad to go off in the way that she does, because she's having flashbacks of all the things that this man has said and did to her, and you purposefully put him back in her face.
Mm-hmm. And knowing, they knew.
Knowing.
Right.
You know, knowingly, no. Knowing all the things that he has done and said, because I've expressed them to you, you still put him and his new wife, which she's like, I don't have no issues with this girl.
Right. I don't want him.
It's the fact that y'all putting him in my face, and now I have to talk to this girl and try to be like cool with her. And it's like, girl, I can't stand your man.
Right.
Like, and every time I have something to say about my situation with him, you have something to say to defend him when I have known him way longer than you. And
I'm sure he ain't told her the truth about what really happened. No, you only going off of his side. And you've already verified that some of the things that I've said about him are true. Yep. So if you've experienced some stuff that I've gone through and it's only been a year or two, how do you think it was for me for 10 years or however long they were married? Like, make it make sense.
Yep. And I think, for that reason, I understand where Quad's passion comes from and where she gets upset, because you're holding on to the fact of what you feel like I did to you in a friendship, but you're not considering me as a woman who went through an abusive relationship, and you're constantly putting my abuser in my face. And then you told me you purposely brought him here to piss me off.
Right. Yeah, it's not giving girls girl. It's not giving I was once your friend, period, or that you want to even try to salvage this friendship. Like,
and the way she bucked up at her at the end, I'm just like, what are you really mad at? It can't just be that. It has to be something deeper.
Right. But that's why I said she needs to take a break, because the fact that you advocating for her to stay with a man who's abusing her and shaming her for leaving, like, girl, you need to sit down and think about some things for a little while.
And I think it's even really pissing her off more. Like you said, she's jealous because Quad found a man who is riding for her.
Right.
Riding with her. And
Cecil is on Team Quad all day.
All day. And that's pissing her off even more. Because that, again, is bringing up old things of him, Cecil, riding with his best friend over her.
Right.
Because the way that he bucked up, because the way Simone bucked up at her, I'm like, oh, this is something else.
Yeah, it's definitely personal. Listen, Simone been mad since Whitney, because she tried to exclude Quad from Whitney, and Cecil invited her. Like, no, my sis, I'm inviting her.
I think her main character energy, like, just gets under her skin. Like, it just really grinds her hair. I think she thought that whole "we no longer want you here" was gonna, like, really knock her off her block, but when it didn't, I think
unfortunately the fans want her, and that's why she's back.
Yep, I think it upset her.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, that sums up this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, all the junk. We'll see y'all later.
Bye. Not all that junk. I'm crying.